The first warning wasn't a sound but a feeling, a deep, gut-level certainty that something irreversible had already been set in motion, the kind of moment history later circles in red. So before we go any further, stay with this story until the end, and subscribe to the channel, because some stories aren't entertainment, they're lessons written in fire. The bridge of the alien dreadnought Oblivion Crown exploded into chaos as crimson alarms painted the command deck in pulses of blood-red light. High Marshal Threx staggered against the command rail, staring at the main viewport as sparks rained from the ceiling. The object charging toward them wasn't a battleship. It wasn't even armored. It was a civilian fusion carrier, its hull glowing white-hot, safety regulators ripped out, engines screaming past any sane limit. Why aren't they firing? Threx roared. Where are their weapons? The sensor chief turned, eyes wide with animal terror. They are the weapon, Marshal. It's a collision course. They're not attacking, they're sacrificing. In that instant, Threx understood the horror of the species he had mocked. War, to them, was not a negotiation. It was an extinction ritual. The universe turned white. 48 hours earlier, the Galactic Assembly Chamber had smelled of polished metal and superiority. The alien Dominion delegation stood gleaming in ceremonial armor, while Commander Ralvek paced before the representatives of 1,000 worlds, openly laughing at the lone human diplomat, Elias Ward. The Terran collective, Ralvek boomed, inhabits a lethal planet yet evolved without fangs, claws, or armor. You warn us of their spirit? I see livestock pretending to be civilized. The chamber rippled with cruel amusement. Elias didn't raise his voice. He simply adjusted his sleeve and looked at the crowd with the patience of something ancient. Our history isn't a threat, he said quietly. It's a caution. We fought ourselves for centuries before we ever reached the stars. If we seem calm, it's because we learned what happens when we aren't. Ralvek sneered. You are frightened animals wearing suits. By dawn, your home system will belong to us. Elias stepped closer to the microphone, and the air itself seemed to tighten. Then let humanity sleep, he said. Because if we wake, everyone burns. The Dominion fleet translated into the Sol system with surgical precision, expecting resistance in neat military formation. Instead, they found silence. No grand armada. No heroic last stand. Just drifting civilian infrastructure and quiet planets. Deep beneath a mountain command bunker, Director Harlow watched the tactical map bloom with red signals. The alien fleet ignored the outer colonies, confident and contemptuous. Harlow exhaled slowly. Initiate final protocol, he said. Around him, officers hesitated only a heartbeat before obeying. Across the system, disguises fell away. Humanity hadn't built a peaceful civilization. It had camouflaged a weapon. Mining barges split open to reveal missile bays packed with nuclear lances. Freight carriers rewrote their own navigation code and converted into guided kinetic spears. Passenger shuttles overrode safety locks, engines flaring into miniature suns as they hurled themselves toward the invaders. The Dominion sensors flooded with impossible data. Millions of contacts. Not warships, everything. The solar system itself had become hostile. The first impact shattered the Oblivion Crown. The fusion carrier struck with the force of a small moon. Shields collapsed instantly. The dreadnought folded inward like crushed foil, its spine snapping in silent vacuum. And that was only the beginning. Civilian yachts, cargo tugs, refinery drones, thousands of vessels accelerated in coordinated sacrifice. They did not maneuver. They collided. Each impact a deliberate equation, one life traded for 100 enemies. It was warfare stripped to its evolutionary core. Near the gas giant Jupiter, massive orbital stations shed their harmless refinery skins and revealed gravity engines older than treaties. Authorization codes unlocked. Containment fields dropped. Space twisted. A localized singularity bloomed like a dark flower, and 3 alien cruisers stretched into ribbons and vanished. Physics itself had been conscripted. The Dominion hadn't invaded a government. They had provoked a species that weaponized existence. Panic rippled through the alien command network as formations disintegrated. Ships attempted retreat only to slam into waves of incoming civilian craft. There was no battlefield. There was only annihilation by mathematics. Back in the Galactic Assembly, the live feed dissolved into static. The chamber fell silent except for the echo of distant screaming before the signal died. Every delegate turned to Elias Ward. He hadn't moved. He didn't smile. He tapped his console, and a new image filled the air, the Dominion homeworld. Orbiting it, 12 human probes shimmered into visibility. "Those aren't observers," Elias said evenly. "They're stellar ignition devices. We deployed them half a century ago." Insurance. The chamber inhaled as one organism. Humanity had held a blade to the galaxy's throat for decades, smiling politely while doing it. The Dominion representatives collapsed, terror erasing centuries of arrogance. Elias stepped away from the podium. "We want trade," he said calmly. "Art. Exploration. Friendship. We would rather build your cities than burn them. But do not confuse restraint with weakness. We disguised a fortress as a culture, and we are fully prepared to pull the trigger that holds it together." He paused at the exit, glancing back once. "Your fleet is gone. Let that end the lesson. If you wake us again, we won't stop at defense. We will finish the war you imagined." The doors closed behind him, and the galaxy understood something too late. Humanity's greatest weapon was not its technology, nor its ships, nor its bombs. It was the simple, terrifying truth that a species born on a death world had already survived its own apocalypse once, and would burn the stars before allowing another.